She didn't even look at me when she did it. "Your services and poor love are no longer required," she announced, her voice steady, rehearsed, sharpened like newly polished steel. The boardroom was silent, too silent. Everyone staring at the woman who once whispered devotion in my ear like a religion, now delivering my downfall as if reading the weather report. "Clear your office by tomorrow, and move out tonight." My fingerprints were still drying on the very contract I had reviewed to secure her CEO appointment. My calendar reminders still blinking for the board meeting I arranged. I simply nodded. And then I laughed. Soft at first, controlled, dangerous. Her eyes twitched, the first crack. She didn't expect composure. She expected collapse. They always do. My phone buzzed under the polished table. Another missed call from my daughter-in-law. Her earlier words sat on my screen like cheap graffiti. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes." Family, love, loyalty. Beautiful illusions people use to disarm you before they gut you. "Are you all right?" one board member whispered. I smiled. I was more than all right. I was finally awake. Because this wasn't betrayal. It was confirmation. A truth I had tasted months ago, bitter and metallic on my tongue. A truth she thought she could bury under corporate titles and marital vows. I gathered my papers slowly. No rush. Monsters don't scramble. Monsters stroll. Outside the glass walls, cameras flashed. Praise for the young, visionary female CEO. Let them applaud. Spotlights blind more than they reveal. By morning, they would see the truth. And by night, she would choke on it. I first knew something was wrong when her eyes stopped resting on me. They skimmed past me like I was furniture, something familiar, yet irrelevant. Then came the whispers late at night, muted calls, sudden meetings, a new perfume she couldn't pronounce, yet wore like a second skin. At dinner, she told me, "I need space. I'm evolving." Funny word, evolving. She meant climbing, stepping over me, replacing me. I caught her smiling at her phone once. Not a normal smile, a secret one. She said she was talking to her mentor. Power smells like cheap cologne on insecure men. I watched, listened, made tea she never drank, made love she no longer felt. She still slept beside me, but her body lived elsewhere, somewhere louder, somewhere she believed I could never follow. My name became a placeholder, my touch, background noise. And then came Thanksgiving. Our son's wife, young, hungry for respect she hadn't earned, called to tell me to wash dishes if I wanted to attend. They had all grown bold. Disrespect moves in packs. It never hunts alone. I wasn't losing a marriage. I wasn't losing a family. No, they were losing me. Silence is a blade. I sharpened mine every night. No confrontations, no pleading. Never give betrayal the pleasure of your pain. Instead, I gathered truth like a surgeon collects instruments before the operation. Deleted emails restored, phone logs traced, GPS anomalies noted, private investigator hired, not for pictures, but for patterns. I didn't want drama. I wanted data. Drama is emotional. Data is lethal. Then came the bank notifications, transfers she assumed I wouldn't notice, shares moved into her personal trust, documents she thought were clever, until I read the metadata with a quiet smile. I approached her gently those days, made breakfast, complimented her hair, let her feel untouchable. People sabotage themselves best when they think they've already won. She talked about modern marriages, independence, and self-worth. Strange how those words always show up right before abandonment. I would lie awake beside her, hearing her fake breathing as she texted someone she called boss. Funny title. He wasn't her boss. He wasn't her future. He was a placeholder too. The calm before the storm is not peace. It is precision. And I am patient. I waited until she was promoted, until she tasted power, until her ego expanded beyond the walls of our home. Then she fired me, and the game ended. Because she believed that moment destroyed me. It freed me. The envelope slid across the mahogany table like a guillotine. She blinked, smirked, then opened it. Her face drained, eyes widened, breath halted. DNA results, financial fraud documents, private messages between her and her mentor, board manipulation trail, a timeline of every lie she thought dissolved in secrecy. Her voice cracked. "What is this?" "Truth," I whispered. No rage, no raised voice. Just truth laid bare like bones in winter. "You knew?" she breathed. "Before you even tried." She grabbed the table edge. Her world trembled. Mine was still. I didn't argue. I didn't accuse. I simply placed the second file beside her trembling hand. Board Ethics Committee complaint. Asset reversion documents. Property transfer confirmations. The villa in Switzerland deed, already executed. Every move she thought she led, I orchestrated. She tried to speak. The sound died in her throat. "You set me up," she whispered. "No," I replied. "I gave you rope." Her eyes shined, not with tears, but shock. Shock is always louder than sorrow. I turned to leave. "Wait," she choked. "We can fix." I paused. I already did, and walked out. Behind me, the empire she thought she conquered began to whisper, fracture, collapse. Switzerland was quiet. Snow fell like gentle applause across endless white mountains. Silence was honest here. My daughter-in-law's calls stacked like debt reminders, 71 of them. Before, she demanded dishes. Now, she demanded presence. Funny how the world reaches for you only when it realizes you walked away. I sipped my coffee, ignored the vibrating phone. Power isn't loud, it's absence. I did not lose a wife, I shed a parasite. I did not lose a family, I simply stopped auditioning for a role that was never written for me. In the mirror, I looked older, sharper, whole. Revenge is not anger. Revenge is clarity. And clarity is peace sharpened to a blade. I turned my phone off. Let them scream into silence. Some departures don't echo, they end. And mine did. With snow, stillness, and freedom.